Welcome back to another video. It's been a little bit since I posted one, but I wanted to do this one since I've gone through the process in the previous year, and this sort of ties in with the college theme I'm on. So again, just like the college videos, this information is not exhaustive, but they are different things that are good to think about and be mindful of as you go into the process of applying for an Air Force ROTC scholarship. What is an Air Force ROTC scholarship? There are different types, there are different ways of getting one. This is the general way I'm going to be talking about is as a high school student going into your freshman year at college, although there are also other ways, and you can look at all of them and more information on the ROTC, Air Force ROTC website, which I'll have a link posted to in the description. So first off, start your online application the summer of your junior year. That means going into your senior year. Now, June 1st is when you're able to start it this year. However, that sometimes changes from year to year. Just be monitoring that, and they'll have a date posted out early in the year. Now, you want to start your application early, not only because that gives you more time before the deadline, but also because there are boards that meet throughout the year for ROTC. This is something that's important to know. I believe it's from September to later in the year. They have a board meet a couple times a month that reviews files, which means if you submit your file earlier in the year, you will have more boards will review your file. So say the first few boards don't like your file, and then as time goes on, they may select your file in a later board. However, if you submit your application late, say around October, December, then you'll have fewer boards able to review your file. Now, if your file is really, really good or really, really bad, that will not affect it much, but it is definitely good and better to apply and get your application in as soon as possible. 2. Complete all required documents. Now, these are not too tedious, but there are some different questions you'll have to answer. You'll have to submit school preferences. You'll have to submit an activity sheet talking about different things you've been a part of. You'll have to do a physical fitness test. So just make sure you're knocking those out and being aware of what you need to do. 3. Prepare for and do well in your interview and PFA. Now the PFA doesn't matter too much just because you don't even have to pass it. You just have to show an attempt, and you have to be able to pass it by the time you're on scholarship. But all other things equal between two candidates, they're certainly going to pick the candidate with the better physical fitness assessment. And so you want to do well in that to show you're ready and taking this seriously. For your interview, try to get a family member or someone, even someone who's a little bit more unfamiliar to you, to ask you some questions you might come across, and even ones they think you might be asked. And then just relax on the day it happens. Know that each interview will be a little different based on who is interviewing you and even your mood that day. But do your best and then leave it up to whatever happens. 4. Accept decline the scholarship offer. Now, it's important to note that ROTC, Air Force ROTC, Naval ROTC, Army ROTC, they're all separate from schools. So just because you get a scholarship doesn't mean you get to go to a specific school. Just because you get into a specific school doesn't mean you get the scholarship. However, almost any scholarship, the scholarships through ROTC, they will go to almost any school. Now, you may make different decisions based on majors offered or tuition, but in general, the scholarship will go to whatever school you wish. Now, another thing that is important to note is there are majors that the Air Force ROTC will look at more favorably than others, which again is listed on their website. Those include engineering degrees, meteorology, computer science, and then also language, foreign languages. If you pick one of these majors and they give you a scholarship, you need to have one of those majors selected when you go to school. If you pick one on your application, they'll definitely look at it more favorably. Just because you don't pick one of their specific majors, it doesn't mean you won't get a scholarship. The chances are just decreased, and it's more likely you'll get a lower level scholarship. 5. Complete the DODMERB exam ASAP. Now, for those of you also applying to service academies, you have this part easy because the service academies allow you to apply and finish the DODMERB exam earlier in the year. And the same exam counts for all service academies and ROTC. If you are only applying to ROTC though, there'll be a certain day that you are able to start on this process, and you need to do it as quickly as possible. Sometimes things in the medical world can get held up here and there, some paperwork issue, you may need to have a remedial exam to make sure you're okay. So just like starting the initial application, the sooner you do this, the better it'll be, and the lower the chance will be that something goes haywire. Thank you again. That's just a brief overview of some things I learned throughout my process of applying. I will include a couple helpful links down below for you to look at and do your own research. These are definitely things to help you, but you can ask people at an ROTC detachment. A lot of detachments offer shadow days where you can go and see what it'd be like. So definitely take advantage of those opportunities as well. Again, briefly, apply early, complete the documents early, prepare for and do well in your interview and physical fitness assessment, accept and decline the scholarship offer as it comes, complete the DODMERB exam as soon as possible, and do your best in everything. Whatever happens in the end happens. There is a guaranteed no if you don't apply, so even if you're not sure, it's always good to have more open doors than necessary rather than come to the end. And what happens to a handful of people is they'll get declined from a service academy or something and have nothing to fall back onto. Whereas if you have an ROTC scholarship, that is definitely something that will help you throughout your college career. There are some service commitments, monetary things that go into the scholarships. So again, look at the website in the link below for more specific details. And then don't be afraid to ask any questions if you have a specific question for me.